Hello, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. Hope you're keeping safe. Hope you're keeping sane. It doesn't seem so long ago we were talking about the unfortunate death or tragic death of baby Arthur. And just this week we're hearing about another tragic case of Star, a young girl who was killed by her mother's partner, despite potential dangers to her being highlighted to the appropriate child protection authorities. And whilst the death of baby Arthur could almost certainly be laid at the door, not just obviously the evil scumbags who actually killed him, but at the failures within the Child Protective Services that should have acted upon genuine concerns for his well-being. We can also, in this instance, blame a overwhelming and far-reaching culture of wokeness that may have put pay to a much earlier observation or much earlier intervention that could ultimately have saved this young girl's life. Star's killer, abuser, tormentor, general all-round scumbag, was the same-sex female partner of Star's mother. So they're a same-sex lesbian couple, which in and of itself is not an issue. However, I do personally believe, and it is not just my belief, but one that has been commented on by many people who are far more adept at this sort of the legal side of this case, that this same-sex partnership will have delayed any potential intervention by the authorities and by the Child Protective Services. And the reason, of course, being fear of retaliation from the mob. And by the mob, I don't mean the mob in the truest sense, but in the self-righteous woke brigade. Had they acted upon, as they should have done, the genuine concerns that had been expressed for Star's safety and well-being, and these weren't sort of loose sort of tenuous connections. These were genuine concerns voiced by family members. I believe the grandparents were very vocal in reporting their concerns for Star's well-being at the hands of not only the lady who turned out to, sorry, I shouldn't use the word lady, my apologies, not only the woman who turned out to be Star's killer, but also the mother herself. So it wasn't some flimsy report. This was genuine concern raised by someone who knew the child well. But had they acted upon this, and had it not led to a successful intervention, or had there ultimately have been deemed to be no wrongdoing by the couple, then this would have opened the doors for widespread criticism and accusations of targeted homophobia by the Child Protective Services and by the local authorities. And I fear in this instance it was this risk of being labelled as homophobic or discriminatory that led to hesitancy, which led to a delayed and ultimately too late intervention by the appropriate services and the tragic death of this little girl. Had also, and this goes to show how far-reaching this dangerous woke idealism is, had this ultimately gone to trial, so had these two women been found innocent of any wrongdoing to this child, they would have been in a position to take the authorities involved to a tribunal, suing for defamation or whatever. And as we have seen time and time again, if you can back up defamation claims or false accusation claims with some sort of label, for in this instance it would be likely to be homophobia, then you are not only more likely to get a successful conviction against your authority, the damages paid or the reparations paid to yourselves as the innocent parties, obviously in this case very hypothetically innocent parties, would be much more severe, which again leads to extreme hesitancy in acting upon reports that could lead to these kinds of claims, to these kinds of accusations, and ultimately these kinds of payouts and cases. It's a tragedy. It should never have been allowed to happen. And obviously, ultimate responsibility lays at the hands of the evil scumbags who not only killed this poor child, but also oversaw, nay, encouraged it. Also at the doors of the authorities who should have acted upon the information they'd received. But I think in many ways a much wider agenda, a much wider proportion of people who sign up to these woke ideologies and who are too quick to point fingers and label people as, in this case, homophobic, but also racist, sexist, whatever, transphobic, whatever the case might be. And they're so keen and willing to put a label on it that the authorities that are supposed to be protecting our children and protecting us as a society are too hesitant to act in the, in fear of being branded something they're obviously not, just doing their duty. Stay safe, stay sane. All the best.